So I don't think Jerry's going to be in any rush to take Cooper out of the lineup as Dak Prescott continues to heal up from his thumb injury. You're undefeated with him in the lineup. And for whatever that's worth, I mean, it's hard to win in the NFL. And he's doing it 4-0. It's incredible. I mean, the Rams, I don't look at the Rams the same way. I think after seeing them 5 weeks in, I don't look at them the same way that I look at last year's Rams team. It's clear that they have obvious flaws. But you would say one of the obvious things in that game, aside from the struggling Rams offense, was how good this Cowboys defense has been. Micah Parsons, he got a little bit banged up towards the end, but he still managed to get the game-ending sack fumble. So tells you he's a gamer. If you told me he came in a little bit banged up into this one and they limited his snaps, I would not be surprised. Jalen Hurts, the Philadelphia Eagles, managed to escape with a perfect record against the Arizona Cardinals. A bit of an uglier game than I would have liked, a little bit of a mucky game for them. And the Arizona kicker, who was just brought in off the streets, was not able to make the play of the game for them. And that's how you end up 5-0 sometimes. It's better be lucky than good. So 5-0, going against 4-1. Didn't think that the NFC East was going to be as tightly contested as it is this year. Meanwhile, you have the Giants in a deadlock game with the Baltimore Ravens. So this week might really start to bring together what this division picture is going to look like for the rest of the season. What do you think about this one? I mean, it's weird because we don't have Dak out there, and this is such a meaningful game. At the same time, if you're Dallas, I mean, you don't need a lot from your quarterback. It's starting to turn out.
I feel like most people did think that the NFC East was going to be close this year, like between the Cowboys and Eagles. I feel like most people thought it
when we thought
there.
Close, we were thinking classic NFC East close. We were thinking both of these teams maybe 2-3 or 3-2, struggling to the finish line. You know, not 4-1, 5-0, because if the Eagles win this game, for them, they're looking at home field advantage, like a straight shot to home field advantage, maybe the number 1 seed. The Cowboys, and they go to 5-1 and get their quarterback back, assuming that, and we all believe that Dak is a better quarterback, but you know, things are weird. You get your quarterback back at 5-1, then suddenly it's like, damn, are they going to be the number 1 seed going into this year's playoffs?
If I had to guess, I don't think it's going to be either of them, but evidence is contrary to that point. Like the Cardinals were like 7-0 last year and kind of fell back a bit. But
you know, the Niners, you look at other division leaders right now. So like the Niners still have to go through the rest of the NFC West, and they have to face the AFC West. You look at the top of the division with the Bucks. The Bucks are struggling in their offense. Luckily, they don't really have challengers for them in division. And then the NFC North, it's looking like the Vikings. But if you're the Eagles, you're all like, oh, okay, well, we beat the shit out of the Vikings. That's kind of like how
Philadelphia, to the point with Philadelphia, we talked about this with the 49ers game preview, which is the 2 best teams in the NFC are the Eagles and the 49ers. Those are the 2 best teams, and they both do things so differently that I would be so fascinated to watch them match up in the playoffs. It would be so interesting to watch them play. I don't think they play in the regular season this year, but it would be so interesting to watch that matchup if they got to, say, an NFC championship game or a divisional playoff matchup. It would be so interesting to watch them play. And Philadelphia is deep. Philadelphia has gotten good enough play, shall we say, from Jalen Hurts. Like Jalen Hurts is, you know, not an MVP frontrunner, but the fact that we're talking about Jalen Hurts as being one of the, you know, top 10 quarterbacks in the league this year is something that most people were not expecting. Obviously, coming into the year, people pointed to that being the weak spot on the Eagles offense. And obviously they've been a very good offense so far. Philadelphia has been interesting, and I'm interested to see how they match up against Dallas, because Dallas has had an elite defense this season. And again, a big part of that is takeaways for the Cowboys, as it's been the past couple of years. They're good at taking the ball away from the other team, and that's obviously volatile, and it's, you know, difficult to gauge that year to year, even week to week, because the best of the best quarterbacks are good at preventing defenses from having those takeaways. Again, it'll be really interesting to watch them match up against each other. It's a game where it could go in a lot of different directions. It's just whether, I guess my question is whether the Cowboys will put up points. And that's been a question that's kind of up in the air the past few weeks of the season.
So Jalen Hurts, historically against the Cowboys, he won his first ever game against them in this matchup 2020, but he struggled in the last 2. That's something that stood out to me in the 2021 season whenever they matched up with them. He had a 53% completion percentage in the first game against the Cowboys, ended up with a 70.7 quarterback rating. Again, they lost the next one, 64% completion percentage, a little bit better, but a couple picks. a lot of empty calorie stats. So that's probably the biggest difference from this year's Jalen Hurts to last year's Jalen Hurts, that each yard seems like it's more meaningful. It's more impactful on actually winning the game, because Jalen Hurts, the joke about him in the fantasy football community is great fantasy football quarterback, horrible NFL quarterback. This year, like you said, there's more argument made that he's a legitimate NFL quarterback this year, and he's probably going to get paid because of it. So credit to what Jalen Hurts been able to do in this turnaround season. The biggest thing that he's been able to improve, obviously, is the completion percentage. He gets open wide receivers, and maybe that's Nick Sirianni. Maybe that's the scheming that the Eagles are able to do, but maybe that's just obviously having superior talent around him, because Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, these guys are studs. AJ Brown got a little bit contained against the Cardinals, but Devonta Smith was able to pick up the slack for him. He had about 9 catches, I believe, on the day and over 100 yards. Maybe they can do it against Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs, I know, is the constant joke of like boom or bust type player, but I think the physical type of play a guy like AJ Brown brings, or the type of matchup nightmare that a Devonta Smith is with the speed, that's gonna be a battle that I'm gonna be keying in on whenever I watch this contest. Because if Jalen Hurts can take advantage of that one, then I think that's how the Eagles win this game. Because they have the offensive line to hold up against this pass rush that the Cowboys have been filling out there. Their offensive line has been one of the biggest strengths. Their defense line, another big strength for the Eagles. It's going to cause a lot of problems. This might be an ugly slot fest. I don't see this being a high-scoring game. And that's kind of like what the Cowboys prefer, obviously. As long as you do have Cooper Rush, you want this to be an ugly game. You don't want this to be a game in which you want your quarterback to have to throw 30, 40 times. So that kind of plays into the Cowboys' strength. I'm conflicted on this one, man. Predictions.
I am too.
Where are you kind of leaning on it?
I mean, it feels like one of those games that might come down to the wire, and those ones are usually coin flip games.
Yeah, it's currently, it's a 5-point spread in favor of the Eagles. So I think there's still that little bit of not buying in fully into what the Cowboys are with Cooper Rush, which I get, but at the same time, it's like, well, we're here now, and their defense has been suffocating.
Yeah. This one's tough. In those situations, I usually end up just deferring to what the line says and for the most probable result, because, those lines are set in that way for a reason. But I'm gonna contrarian play this a little bit. I'm gonna take the Dallas Cowboys to win on the road against Philadelphia. Which would be obviously a little bit surprising, given that I just said Philadelphia is as good as the 49ers. But let me just defend myself by saying I have no conviction on this pick. I'm just going to roll with the Cowboys and see what happens.
End of the day, no team goes undefeated. That's not a thing that happens. And the Eagles show the first cracks that their perfect season might be coming undone soon against the Cardinals. And I would say if it was going to happen, it would probably be in a game against a team that kind of makes things ugly, makes things hard. At the same time, do I think Cooper Rush's perfect season is going to continue? I have to think there is a game in which he does get exposed. I just don't know. Is it this game? The Eagles can make it ugly. The Eagles defense.
There's no better team.
I think we just got to be different here. I'm going to take the Eagles. It's going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a game. So 42 is going to be the over-under line.
Oh wow, that's really low. Wow.
Yeah,
that's like Patriots Steelers level over unders. Wow.
Might be like a 21-17.
Yeah. I could see it.
Maybe it would be fun though if the Cowboys won and the Giants won, just so we see that 5-1 across the board picture, and then the Commanders are just kind of hanging around there. I look forward to it. Football chaos. Let's see it. All right, guys. Well, let us know in the comment section below. Are you going with the Cowboys? Are you going with the Eagles? Are you taking the points? Are you not taking the points? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on social media. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. This is your host, Ju-Ju and Kyle. We'll see you on the next one.